Here is my Unit 3 history blog for chapters 16, 17, and 18. By the 1800s, slavery had become an essential part of economic, political, and social life in America. Cotton accounted for half the value of all American exports after 1840, and the South had developed into an oligarchy controlled by the few rich plantation owners. Only a fourth of white Southerners actually owned slaves. Most of the whites in the South were poor farmers with no slaves. Although there is no doubt that slavery was a horrible institution, slaves in the Deep South had a pretty stable life and had developed a distinct culture by the 1840s and 50s. Slaves combined African and Christian elements to form their own way of religion. However, the cruelties of slavery could not be denied. The abolitionist movement started to take on greater momentum in the 1830s with the Second Great Awakening. William Lloyd Garrison inspired the American Anti-Slavery Society when he published his newspaper, The Liberator. And Frederick Douglass, one of the greatest black abolitionists, gave stunning speeches after escaping slavery himself. In 1836, the South was starting to fear for the future of their peculiar institution, and drove through Congress the Gag Resolution, which required all anti-slavery petitions to be removed without debate. At this time, although there were many abolitionists, the majority of the people in the North were still undecided about their position on slavery. When Whig candidate William Henry Harrison won the presidency in 1840, the Whig Party leaders like Henry Clay and Daniel Webster were elated to have an executive that would pass their legislation. However, Harrison died a month into his presidency and was replaced by Democratic Vice President John Tyler. The Whigs pushed for a nationalistic program including higher tariffs and another Bank of the United States. But Tyler vetoed the bank proposal and the majority of other Whig legislation because the Whigs were unwilling to compromise enough with Tyler. The 1844 election was seen as a mandate for manifest destiny with the election of James K. Polk. Before Tyler left office, he started the process of acquiring Texas through a joint resolution that required only a majority vote to pass in both houses. It passed early in 1845, and Texas was invited into the Union. Polk also wanted to buy California from Mexico, but after Texas joined the Union, relations with Mexico were ruined. In 1846, war was declared on Mexico after Mexican troops crossed the Rio Grande and supposedly attacked American troops who were stationed there. The American war operations against Mexico were completely successful, and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed in 1848. In 1849, the discovery of gold in California sent a rush of pioneers out west, hoping to strike rich. Because it was filled with people so quickly, California bypassed the territory stage and applied for statehood in 1849, after writing a constitution that excluded slavery. The admission of California as a free state brought up bitter debates in Congress by Southerners who did not want the balance to be tipped. In 1850, a compromise was finally struck after Henry Clay and Daniel Webster made powerful speeches urging the two sides to compromise. In the end, California was admitted as a free state, but the Fugitive Slave Law was passed. In addition, popular sovereignty was adopted for the new territories from Mexico. In 1854, Stephen Douglas's Kansas-Nebraska Act allowed settlers in the Kansas and Nebraska territories to choose for themselves whether to be a free state or a slave state. This act encountered much controversy because it repealed the Missouri Compromise of 1820. The Kansas-Nebraska Act produced the new Republican Party, which was strongly anti-slavery. In 1854, Commodore Matthew Perry traveled to Japan and ended its 2-century-long isolationism by negotiating a treaty that established consular relations.